few minutes at this convention to address something, and that is the future of hypnotherapy. I hear people and I see articles written and I see internet posts and I hear speeches at conventions with people giving dire warnings about the future of hypnosis and the future of hypnotherapy. And people say all the time, look out because the legislators are coming to get you. You better look out because this group or that group wants to stop you. You better look out because people don't have a public perception of hypnosis that's positive. You better look out and you better be careful because hypnosis is on the edge of disaster. I hear that all of the time, and it simply isn't true. At least in my world it isn't true, because when I look out over the horizon and look at the profession of hypnosis and hypnotherapy, I see the future is bright. This convention doesn't have a slogan, but I have posted in a couple of places, the future of hypnotherapy is bright. And the reason why is because it is bright. It is an exciting time to be a hypnotist, to learn hypnosis, and to practice hypnosis. I could probably list 100 reasons why the future of hypnosis is bright. But I stopped at 7 because some of you know I have remedial typing abilities. And I figured if I got this far without screwing up, I probably ought to quit. So in the handout you have on your desk, there are 7 reasons why the future of hypnosis is bright. And I figured I would share these because these aren't the things that we hear. Instead, we hear the dire warnings. We don't hear number 1 on the list. The technology has made the quality and diverse education of hypnosis and hypnotherapy widely available to all. It was in 2006 and my 14-year-old son was messing around with a can of spray paint outside. He's an artist and he loves to paint. And I guess he decided to take the can of spray paint, since he was outside spray painting anyway, and make a video. And so he started spraying the air, saying that he was going to do away with the ozone layer. 14-year-old humor. And since his name is Richard Nongard, also, no narcissism in our family, he decided he wanted to rename it the R-Zone. And so he made a video, 14-year-old humor, of him doing this, and he put it up on YouTube, which I had never heard of, which most people had never heard of. And he came in one day, he's like, Dad, look, I put up a video called the R-Zone layer. It's still on YouTube. Go see it if you want to. Just search engine R-Zone layer, and you'll get Ricky. And he said, you should put some of your videos up here, too. I had just completed a hypnosis training class in Wichita, Kansas. And so there was a video of me guiding a group of professionals through about an 8-minute basic hypnosis experience. It was the only video of me I had. I didn't have one of me destroying the ozone layer with spray paint, and probably figured I shouldn't be putting that on the internet anyway. I can't claim I was an ignorant kid. And so I put this really a boring video of a progressive muscle relaxation session. It started out with, hello, I'm Richard Nongard. And you might be asking yourself, is a person on video really going to hypnotize me? Well, focus your attention on this dot on the chalkboard. And I go through about an 8 or a 9-minute example of a basic process of hypnosis. And 100 people watched it that day. And 200 people watched it. And 300 people watched it. And today on YouTube, there are actually more than 1 million hits on that video. I began quickly putting more YouTube videos up, and I have almost 5 million hits on my YouTube channel right now. But it's not just me. There are lots of other people who have put all kinds of videos. And when I began putting videos that actually taught hypnotic techniques on the internet, people said to me, don't do that. Regular people are going to learn how to do hypnosis. And I said, good. Hypnosis is natural. It's not something to be fearful. It isn't something we should keep for academic textbooks that we shouldn't share with others, but rather a gift that we should in fact give everybody. And so I continued to put those videos up, videos that showed inductions, videos that taught people how to teach hypnosis to other people, and videos that showed a wide variety of methods. And other people continue to do that too. And today the internet is filled with easily accessible information, no matter where in the world you are. And I hear from people in every single country, every single day, that they're using the internet to better their own lives and better the lives of others. I read every comment that's posted on my YouTube page, which usually are probably 50 comments a day. And 99 out of 100 are positive. And the one of them is a 13-year-old kid saying, watch the R-zone later, it's a lot better. But the internet has made hypnosis and hypnosis education accessible for all. And I think that's a great thing. There are folks like Leo Gopal in South Africa, like Nathan Thomas, who as teenagers on the internet recognized that this was something valuable and began teaching that to other teenagers. They're now young adults. And they're continuing to teach hypnosis in a responsible way to people and bettering the lives of others. And because of the internet, hypnosis is not becoming smaller, but it's becoming bigger. And that's good for all of us. The second reason hypnosis is bright. The integration of hypnosis and life coaching has focused on the peak performance and non-pathological model. Like many people in this room, I was trained as a psychotherapist, licensed as a psychotherapist, and what that means is that my viewpoint looked for what was wrong. I was trained to use the DSM-4 and attach a pathological label to my clients because if somebody was in front of me, there was something wrong. And maybe that's what counseling and psychotherapy and psychology and psychiatry is all about, fixing what's wrong. So be it. Hypnosis is much broader than that. Hypnosis is about helping people achieve their greatest level of potential. This is what I love about hypnosis and life coaching versus traditional psychotherapy. There is a needed role for those who can fix what's wrong, for those who can treat pathology. There are 70 million people in the United States of America with a diagnosable psychiatric disorder, mental disorder. But there are 320 million people in our country who can benefit from hypnosis. That's how many people are in our country, by the way. And so we have a craft, an art, a skill that doesn't just treat pathology, but instead is available to everybody to improve everyone's quality of life. The reason I love doing hypnosis is really simple. The clients who come to me aren't necessarily sick. They simply want to be better. And I love helping people who are already great become even greater. That is something that I can use my skills and my training to effectively do, and you can too. The third reason the future of hypnosis is bright is really pretty simple. The use of hypnotic methods in evidence-based treatment protocols means that hypnotic methods are becoming the standard in treatment rather than simply complementary and alternative therapies and theories. I hear hypnotists often describe their services as complementary and alternative. And what that tells me is that these folks have been practitioners of hypnosis for a long time. Because when they started doing hypnosis, it was complementary and alternative. But the research shows us today that hypnosis, hypnotherapy, hypnotic methods in traditional treatment are no longer complementary and alternative, but are actually the preferred modality of treatment. We might actually call it something different. But when I look at the methodology, it's actually the same. Somebody asked me not too long ago the question, actually it was posed by a poster on YouTube. The question was, Richard, could you explain the difference between hypnosis, meditation, and yoga? I thought that was a great question. And so I pondered it all day. And at the end of the day, I arrived at my conclusion. The difference between meditation, hypnosis, and yoga, the best answer I could come up with was, they're all the same. The only difference is in yoga, you have to wear funny clothes. The reality is they all involve the same processes, the same methods, and achieve, although they may look different aesthetically, in many cases, the exact same goals. And when I look at methods of treatment that are called outcome-based treatment protocols, and the DSM-5 is really pretty interesting. The DSM-5 is going to have an axis 6. They're not going to call it axis 6, but it's really going to be an axis 6. The DSM-5 is going to list, for example, depression, axis 1, axis 2, prevalence, blah, 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 blah. Okay, this is going to be the layout of the DSM-5 that comes out in 2012. But there's going to be a new little box that says, what therapies have demonstrated efficacy for this disorder? By the way, that's kind of dangerous because that's going to result in one-size-fits-all treatment. I'm not an advocate of that, but that's what's coming down the pipe. What's interesting, though, is that the research that works are modalities of therapy that specifically involve hypnotic methods, dialectical behavioral therapy, Marshall Linehan's work, the component of mindfulness and insight-oriented approaches. The work of John Kabat-Zinn, mindfulness-based stress reduction, University of Massachusetts Department of Psychiatry. One of my favorite writers, Stephen Hayes, acceptance and commitment therapy, University of Nevada. Excellent research into the treatment of anxiety, which is an extremely prevalent problem, particularly if you work with youth. And the methods of therapy that have demonstrated efficacy in treating psychiatric disorder are methods that primarily rely on hypnotic modalities, even cognitive behavioral therapy. For some reason, people think cognitive behavioral therapy has no relationship to hypnosis. The reality is that Albert Ellis was a profound hypnotist who delivered his cognitive corrections, if you will, to clients during therapy while they were in trance. In cognitive behavioral therapy, the structure of how he wrote suggestions essentially became what was famous rather than his methods, since at the time he was a contemporary of other hypnotists. But hypnosis was how Ellis delivered cognitive behavioral therapy. One of my favorite books is by Jordan Zarin and Bruce Eimer, and it's titled Brief Cognitive Hypnotherapy. And people ask me all the time when they're new to hypnosis, how do you structure suggestions? I'm going to talk about that later on. One of the most effective ways to structure suggestions is to use cognitive behavioral therapy with your clients during trance. And so the future of hypnosis is great because the evidence-based treatment protocols show that hypnotic methods, whether we call it hypnosis or call it something else, are among the most effective methods of helping people make lasting change. The future of hypnosis is bright because new conferences really are promoting hypnosis without walls. I hope you join the ICBCH. There's a form in your packet. Great if you do, great if you don't. You're still invited next year, and we're not going to charge you more if you're a non-member. Why? Because we encourage and we want hypnotists from all different vantage points and viewpoints to come together to share something in common, and that is all a sincere desire to help our clients. And whether you're affiliated with us or affiliated with somebody else or affiliated with all of these groups, more power to you. In the end, it's best for our clients. By the way, I'm not the only one with that vantage point. Scott Sandlin, which is one of the leaders in hypnosis, HypnoThought started a few years ago. You know, yesterday he didn't talk at all about the inception of HypnoThoughts, but hypnothoughts.com started as a small website with a couple of people actually calling each other, telling each other to join up on this new social network to keep in touch. And the other day I sent Scott an email that said, congratulations on 8,000. And he said, we hit 8,000, where do you see that? I said, when I logged in, it told me there were 8,002 members. He said, fantastic. He never dreamed 8,000 hypnotists would all be sharing common space. And the cool thing about HypnoThoughts is whether you're a stage hypnotist or a new age hypnotist or a clinical psychologist or a behavioral researcher, or just a person interested in hypnosis, or a kid or an adult, it's a place for you to share ideas. And guess what? People don't even have to agree on the ideas. John Cleesettle's got a great protocol for helping people quit smoking. It's different than my protocol for helping people quit smoking. Guess what? Just a week or two ago, we both shared our ideas in the exact same forum, and different people came into that forum. Some agreed with me, some agreed with John, some agreed, believe it or not, with both of us, some disagreed with both of us, and everybody benefited from new ideas from different perspectives. And that is the future of hypnosis. And organizations and websites are promoting not our club or your club, but the big tent of hypnosis. And that cannot be stopped. The internet has brought about hypnosis without walls, rather than little sects or groups, each with their own agenda. Because now, well, we're all sharing a space together. And it's not just this conference. Last week I was in Seattle with Scott and Michael Elner and Roger Moore, who are all part of the International Medical and Dental Hypnosis Association, IAC. Great, lots of people there. They invited another guest. They invited, and I can't remember his name, where's Scott? His name, the American Association of Professional Hypnotists. It's about 800 members, primarily on the West Coast. They have a real strong focus on technology in their organization and helping provide technical support essentially to hypnotists. Fantastic to have these groups come together. The future of hypnosis is bright because the walls are in fact coming down. Number 5, the rivalry between licensed psychologists or psychotherapists and professional hypnotists is really relegated to the past. When I hear people saying, but they want to stop people from doing hypnosis, I know that's somebody who's been doing hypnosis since the 1950s or the 1960s. Because in the 1950s, Milton Erickson had to cut a political deal in order to advance his agenda. But the reality is the evidence doesn't show that that rivalry continues to exist. One of the reasons, just this week, Scott posted that Sherry Hood in Alberta, Canada, had her 160-hour hypnosis training curriculum, not approved by, but actually instituted as a teaching curriculum at the University of Alberta's School of Medicine. And she is now training physicians in how to properly use hypnosis. This convention is an example of that rivalry. In this room, we've had lots of folks who are both licensed mental health professionals and those who are professional NLP practitioners or professional hypnotists sharing and learning from each other. Sure, my background and Richard Clark's background and Carol Croskery's background and Gordon Lee's background, today's agenda, come from a background of licensed mental health professionals. Scott's background is entirely different. William Mitchell, who I think is one of the major contributors to hypnosis in the last 5 to 10 years, is actually a TCU graduate, a minister, an MDiv, and all of these people are coming together to share ideas, and the future of hypnosis is bright because that rivalry is really a thing of the past. How do I know that that's true? Well, the future of hypnosis is bright because no state, despite the fear-mongering in our profession, has restricted the practice of hypnosis. Sure, there are some states, I can think of Connecticut, Washington, and Colorado, that require a hypnotist register with the state, fill out a form, pay a $50 fee. In the state of Washington, also take an HIV course. But requiring registration is far different than restricting practice. And no state, not one, despite all the fear-mongering, has said you cannot practice hypnosis. There are some states that have said, Texas being one, if you're not a licensed therapist, you cannot call yourself a hypnotherapist because that causes confusion. But we're not going to restrict your right to practice professional hypnosis, which, by the way, from a marketing perspective, makes much more sense anyway. Clients don't want to see a therapist. Therapy has failed in many cases, or the client doesn't see themselves as being defective. And so they don't want to see a therapist. That's why they call a hypnotist. So from a marketing perspective, it actually makes more sense, but I'll let you sort out that debate later. And although there are some states that have tried to regulate hypnosis, Indiana, what we've seen is that those have utterly failed. And that law in Indiana this year that regulated the practice of hypnosis was sunsetted, and in all 50 states, everybody has the ability to practice hypnosis. The future of hypnosis is bright. It's not becoming more restrictive despite membership drives based on this fear. The reality is it's becoming more inclusive as we realize that hypnosis is a part of counseling. Hypnosis is a part of social work. It's a part of psychology. It's a part of life coaching. It's a part of ministering. It's a part of parenting. It's a part of teaching. It's a part of next door neighboring. It's a part of yoga-ing. It's a part of life. Hypnosis is natural phenomena. It's not an altered state. It's not a mysterious and strange place. And that rivalry is gone, and the restrictions are gone. And the 7th reason why the future of hypnosis is bright is because James Hazelrig's truck says hypnosis works. And people ask me all the time, how do you know hypnosis works? Is it because of the anecdotal stories you can tell me about the clients who come into your office? Last week I had 6 clients. I was also in Seattle, Austin, and here. So in my office I saw 6 clients last week, 5 of them for smoking cessation and 1 of them for depression. I do a couple of sessions. The way I structure it, my smokers that come to the session, they leave a non-smoker, and they come back 2 or 3, 4 days later, depending on my schedule, and have a second session. And that second session for my 5 smokers last week consists of this: hey, high five, congratulate yourself, glad you're back, you did well. It worked. My smokers all quit. I was 5 for 5 last week. People say, you know hypnosis works because you were 5 for 5 last week? No, I know hypnosis works because the research shows it does. This morning I put on everybody's desk a handout showing that hypnosis works, the statistics on hypnosis. That's for your reference. You can see that hypnosis is among the most effective modalities of treatment for a wide variety of conditions. Have that, take that home with you. You can look at the unedited complete post with all of the abstracts in the ICBCH group, and HypnoThoughts is posted there in its entirety. But hypnosis is not a complementary and alternative therapy. It is, in fact, the most effective approach to dealing with many of life's difficulties. And as a result, the future of hypnosis is in fact bright. And so I want to thank everybody for your participation, your contributions to this conference, which is the beginning of, I think, many great things here in Texas. And that's going to conclude my remarks. We're going to take a quick minute break where we set up the projector and get ready for William Mitchell to be on in about 5 minutes. But I want to thank everybody for coming and everybody for being a part of what is really awesome in the field of hypnosis.